Welcome guys to the second video of my compound series. Today's compound will be Wolfshead Arsenal. But before we jump in the first building, I want to show you something very important, the spawn points. For some reason this compound is a pretty good compound to have early fights, early spawn fights, let's say. So you always want to check the spawn on the right. As the name may suggest, Wolfshead Arsenal is actually an arsenal. It's in the name, right? So if you open these sliding doors right here, you're gonna find a lot of ammo and, if you're lucky enough, consumables and cash. Make sure your teammate doesn't hear you picking up the cash though. On this side, the main entrances are the main gate and the hole in the log wall. And on the same side, we can see the first cheesy spot of this compound. If you're trying to push this building, it's always a good idea to check this door. Every time you push the compound, you have great visibility on the staircase and inside the room. But don't stand still for too long. And the reason why you should not be crouching for too long is that the log wall is... Dude, it's a log wall, like, it's pretty open. They can see you. If you crouch there for too long, you're gonna get shot from the outside. Or, if you're defending from the inside, that's a pretty good spot to defend the compound. Especially if you have good ears. Once inside the building, you may want to check first the room on the right. It's pretty big, it's full of beds, and usually somebody's sitting there with the shotgun. And after you're done checking the room, get ready for the first cheesy spot in this room. This spot is particularly important because a lot of people likes to sit behind the boxes on top on the first floor. So this is a safe way to check if somebody's crouching there. Be careful though, because this trick works in both ways. Once you are sure that nobody's on the first floor waiting for you, you need to check immediately the balcony right in front of you. This particularly peak spot makes you feel really safe, but in reality it's very open. I'm gonna show you from the other side what it looks like later, but for now, that's the corner that you wanna aim to. This particular parkour trick can save your life. You take a little bit of fall damage, but not too much. Let's analyze one of the worst cover in the whole compound. I can't recall how many headshots I got behind this thing because I thought I was covered. It's a decent cover spot for emergency situations if you crouch spam, but if you stand behind there, trust me, somebody on top of the balcony can get a clear shot on you. I'm gonna show you first the outside of this building and then the inside to make you better understand how not to pick those cracks on the walls. This building is literally covered in cracks. Every corner hides a crack. You need to learn all of these little spots and check them before you get too close to this building. I really don't recommend pushing from this building, but if you really want to, learn all of these cracks and good luck. Not a lot of people picks that window, but if you want to make sure nobody's behind there, you need to pick the crack on the right. Congratulations, you pushed the building and you're already dead because you didn't check the window. There's usually a concertina trap right there, and concertina plus poison or concertina alone means you're dead. But if you survive because God feels generous, that's the first spot you want to check to see if someone is crouching right next to the window. See, this is how I imagine the gates of hell. This staircase with this little opening. The only ways you have to check if somebody's above you is to shoot, move, and listen. But if you are not sure that you're alone, definitely don't use the ladder. This is probably the best room to defend the compound from this side. It gives you a lot of cover, a lot of cracks to pick from, but especially one thing. The window right there. I'm gonna demonstrate now what kind of angles you can get from this window. Probably one of the trickiest spots in this compound. It's very hard to counter, and if the guy inside is really experienced, he's gonna have a lot of angles on you. Going on top, the situation changes a little bit. The most famous spot on top is this one, this window. It may look very open, but the corners of this crack or this window, whatever you want to call it, are made out of steel or iron. So it's pretty difficult to actually give a headshot or hit the guy behind the metal sheets if you are standing down there. Turning left in the corridor, we have one of the best pre-fire corners in the game. A lot of people likes to just pick the specific corner on the left and try to hard scope whoever is walking like straight to them. Here we got scared because we had an automat on the other side of the map, but it turned out to be a decoy from our teammate. Picking from the cracks from upstairs is way easier than downstairs. The reason for that is that you're not aiming straight down the cracks, but from the side, so it's way more difficult to see you from downstairs. While you picking, be careful you're not too open from the right side. If you are, move a little bit to the left. This corner is probably the most overpowered corner on this roof. No one can see you shooting from there. Even with the scope, it's really hard to spot the enemy shooting at you from there. This spot is so deadly that my teammate died on the other side of the map. This is one of those classic spots that you wanna check if you're approaching the compound from the train side. The crack on the left gives you eyes immediately inside the arsenal, so if you hear movement there, you may want to check the one on the left first. The big crack on the right gives you great visibility inside the building and reveals any player that is outscoping there, defending the boss lair. Moving inside the building, we have the twin brother of the suicide window. The only reason you should pick this window is when you see players approaching the compound. If you have a shotgun, for example, and you hear them very, very close, you can do a quick pick and try to take one of them out. But if you stay there for too long, I promise you're gonna get shot in the face. Moving on top of the balcony, you have two very important spots that you should always check. The one is the boss lair, the main door, and the second one is the one on the left. A lot of people love to sit there with shotguns. This open balcony has a really, really special place. This crack right there in the staircase. This particular spot gives you a little bit of advantage, but it can also give you a huge disadvantage, and I'll show you now why. The only problem with this spot is the skill of your opponent. If the person sitting downstairs is really experienced, can always have an advantage on you because he has better visibility, and better visibility in this game is everything. This is what I call a win window. If the other one in the back was a suicide window, this one is the complete opposite. Look at all the visibility you have. You can easily spot anyone that is trying to approach the boss lair door. If we move towards the other building, we have another perfect defending spot for the compound. You can see all the people trying to push from the main gate and the log wall. Moving to the left side, for example, gives you perfect view on the door. The first door that I show in the video, the one that leads to the staircase. Using any of these cracks really feels like cheating. All of these rifles in the ground floor of the same building offers a great cover, but the most important part of this room are not the rifles, but it's this little crack right here. We are finally inside the boss lair. And this door is probably the most dangerous one in the compound, cause people love to put traps there. Pushing the boss lair is never an easy task. This door especially is very dangerous. The corner I am pointing at now is probably the main spot to check when you open this door. Usually the enemy hides behind the white jacket. Never trust the white jacket. The roof is probably the most dangerous spot in this compound. Standing on top of the roofs puts you in a terrible situation. But if you are sure that no one is behind you, this roof can be the best spot to pressure the people sitting in the building right in front of you. But be careful for the guys inside the boss lair. The main spot you want to check from the roof is probably the balcony right in front of you. I'm gonna show you now the best spot to pick if someone is on the balcony. It's impossible for the enemy to see you there, and also it's impossible for the enemy to hit you if they're using compact ammo or medium ammo. This spot is a must learn. This is the direct sister of the suicide window in Mo Battery. All these are spots you can get shot from. There is no valid reason in the world for picking this window. Maybe only if you have a death wish. Go ahead. Remember the sliding door of the boss lair? This is how easy it is for the enemy side to defend it. Do not get anywhere close to this door. This is the perspective from behind the white jacket. Here you can see how an experienced player can shoot you instantly without even seeing you. This is the main counter for the people on the metal roof. From here you can't see the roof, but you surely see them if they are standing on top of it. Unluckily, nothing goes through these windows. It's not impossible to push the metal door with a little bit of coordination with your teammates, and if you do push it, these are the favorite corners of the defenders. Usually there is a shotgun on the left and somebody else aiming at the door from behind these boxes. This is a very underrated spot. You can throw whatever you want from there. If you are inside, a choke bomb can annoy the enemies that were pushing you. If you are outside, there could be a great spot to coordinate a push from the train side wooden doors. This wooden wagon right there is not widely used. The reason for that is that it's basically made out of paper. Everything can go through compact, medium and long ammo, and the only reliable thing to do is just to sit there and ambush your enemies. Or maybe take a quick peek and go back inside. This is the main counter to the people inside the wooden wagon. They cannot see you and you can easily pop their heads. That's the reason why I don't recommend sitting in the wagon. And we are at the end of this video. I know it was a long one, but this compound is one of the most difficult to master. I hope you enjoyed and see you in the next video.
Delacroix, you're an asshole, a big asshole.